Good evening. This is Norma Cowie, and once more I'm here for anyone who would like to have a mental mind treatment today or tonight. It's actually this evening. I'm losing count of how many Monday evening nights I've actually done this, and I've always been impressed and excited by the numbers that are coming in each time and the feedback that I get regarding how people are feeling about my mental mind treatments. I began learning how to do these way back in the 80s, and we called them at that point where I was studying, which was in Vancouver, spiritual mind treatments. I have learned that as time has gone on, the word spiritual is not as inviting to many as it was in my era, you might say, of learning and discovering. And so I've found in my general readings that I do for people that when I would say spiritual, they'd look funny. But if I said philosophy, they wouldn't look funny. So when I was contemplating making a forum for these treatments, I decided that I would begin by basically saying that they were, I wanted to get another name where people wouldn't be I was going to say turned off, and that sounds really weird for me because I believe in the spiritual philosophy. But the word spiritual for many people, but if I said mental, it seemed to be more acceptable. So I invite you to come and share with me via the keyboard what the issues are that you're having, you've been having in your life. I'd like your first name and your age, and so that I can tune in, because it's really about tuning into you. This is a personal, even though I've had people say they've really enjoyed my mental mind treatments for others, they really like what I have to say and how I do it. It's because I combine the psychic ability that I have, which I started really, I probably had all my life, but I started developing it at the age of 20 and have worked with it since pretty well then. By 30, I would say, as I really began my professional career, my professional awareness. So it's a matter of you just typing up something for me. Otherwise, I'm going to keep talking about something or other. There's a lot been going on in the world today. So I actually, some Karen has come back to say, she says, "Greetings, Norma. Yeah, we had a transformation session the other day, and she says, fantastic transformation session yesterday. I realized," and she says, hang on, I want to get what the question is. "I realize how small my vision to my life has become. I would appreciate a treatment for having a bigger vision for myself." I'm just going to address this for a moment before I start. How we perceive our world and how we restrict ourselves so often is common in so many ways and in so many places. How the world is around us. And right now, as I was beginning to address before Karen's comment came in, and I also like to make a note of these so I can treat on them during the week as well. There's just so much happening today up here in Canada, and that it's really I think I felt heavy most of the day because of what is happening and what is going on. And yet I do believe, and I do know that this force exists in the universe if people would just open up to it and to understand. And so at this point, I'm not here for politicizing, but energy affects everybody. Energy that is going around, how it works and how it affects really plays a part. And that's why it's so important to be able to have a moment when you recognize that there is a force beyond the political force, etc., that there is a force of love that's in this universe. And I've had the privilege of really connecting in with that. And although in my own world, sometimes I have not been stayed as connected as I could have been, I find that if I wander away into my own little world of doing whatever I do, I am drawn back in, because having that love, that having that connection is so important for everything that you want and receive within your life. So right now I'm going to start doing with for Karen, who wants, I'm going to say a bigger vision, a bigger, actually it's about potential. And I think that's the word I'm going to use in this, is potential. To recognize your potential and not have a lot of critical voices or judgmental voices saying to you can't or you couldn't. So let me just begin here. I know that there is one power and one essence in this universe, and I know that I'm connected. And because I'm connected to this universal love force, I'm also connected to Karen. And as I'm connected to Karen, I can speak my word for her with clarity and ease. I allow myself to open up to the vision of what I want my life to be. I open up with ease, with grace, and with an understanding that no matter how I open and how far I open, the vision can be bigger and more, better, and allow myself to understand that I walk my truth. As I walk my truth and I smile within my face of the direction of where and how and the places that I'm going and what I'm creating, there is life. And that sounds funny to me, but life and liberty and awareness. So in concentrating on the awareness factor at the moment, I know that life brings so many variables and so many choices. And it's only by going inside and listening to my heart, listening to what my true desires are I'm able to go forward in the direction of where I want to go. It's as though the life force, this loving force, no matter what name it is called, gives the signs, gives the essence of all the things that are coming and bringing forth and allowing. And in that moment, there is clarity. And in the clarity, the vision is clear. The next step takes place. One of the elements I have taught often to my students and clients is that know your end goal, know where you want to end up. And all you ever have to know is the next step. I call it the first step principle. If you understand the first step principle, that any step that you take towards a goal is your first step. A lot of people procrastinate. They wait because they want it perfect. I want to know what is perfect. The law of love is. The law of love just is. It is. It doesn't have any strings attached. It doesn't have any judgments. It doesn't have any criticism. It just has an air of knowing. And in that air of knowing, there is life for you to live in perfect harmony within your world. And so in order to have a bigger vision, I think, is to allow yourself to know that all things are possible. I do not believe that you can have a vision of what you want that you cannot achieve it. Fear, not self-belief, all of those things can block that. But the universal love force says it has your back. It is there to support you. You just have to have the vision of where you want to be and then go step by step. You will be led, as I have been led many times in my life. And where do I have problems in my life? When I look back, is when I didn't listen, when I didn't really have my own vision, or I took somebody else's vision. When I had my own vision and trusted that law of love, then life began to work. When I understood that I was a part of a far bigger pattern than I ever realized, and the only thing that had ever held me back from my visions was my fear and my unwillingness to take a step. And so, Karen, with that in mind, I just want you to really line up your goal, or goals or goals. I like people to work with 3 goals actually at a time, 1 big one and 2 smaller ones, because your subconscious is huge and can work with them. The universal love force is everywhere and can work with them. Our mind sometimes cannot cope with too much going on. So it is better to have a focus, and then we can add 2 other little ones. And There's lots about goal setting for sure, and I have lots of information, but this is not only about goals. This is about believing and trusting the steps. You will be led in your mind, in your vision, in your heart, the steps that you take. I truly trust this helps in the awareness of your beingness and knowing that all is well. Karen, yes, it just trust the vision, trust the goal that you're wanting, and move forward from there. And thank you for being here this evening. I appreciate it. She's already saying thank you. The next one I'm coming to is Kayla. And again, we've had Kayla again. I just want to, let me see. She said, she thanks me for my support, loving support. And she says this, she suffers from massive cluster headaches. The headaches pattern is now under the surface. I am extremely tired and weak. Time to restart. Okay. I get that because I've seen what they can do for you and others who've had them. So I'm calling it a restart. So let's see what the divine says for that. Okay. Divine Essence, Mother, Father, Son is one. I'm doing a prayer on behalf of Kayla in the sense of rebalancing and re-energizing the energy patterns. In the preceding time period, a lot of energy is gone just to sustain every moment of every day. And now that that is moving into the past, new and refreshing energy, just like the smell of green grass that just been cut, that beautiful smell of aliveness and freshness and new growth, because the old is being taken away and the new growth can come in and be vibrant and healthy. And as for Kayla, as I am one with her in the loving energy of all that is, I know my strength, my purpose, and my awareness is strengthening me through this newness, this new arrival of energy where faith, love, enjoyment, exhilaration, and looking forward to the wondrous things in my life and this next version or the next step that I am taking. I give thanks in knowing that all is so well for me in the sense of my being, that I open myself up to receive energy, gentle, loving, consistent energy that rebalances my whole system. The nervous system, which has been really pulled apart, comes into perfect unity, comes into balance, comes into an awareness. And just like a beautiful, fresh drink of water, it allows the nervous system just to be refreshed. And as the nervous system gets refreshed throughout your whole body, it's as though there's an aliveness that comes back. An energy which brings peace, which brings a sense of certainty, which brings a sense of allowingness, and also clarity. And in the clarity of now, there's no looking back. There's looking forward, but with peacefulness and awareness that all will be given. And in the all being given, it's just a matter of being open to receive the peace, the newness, the growth, and the awareness of everything moving into an alignment, starting with the nervous system. And I'm not always aware of all the other systems, but the endocrine system I'm getting, and several other elements all coming into alignment to work together. No part of you is fighting any other part. And so this is balance. And in this balance, I am grateful, and I truly give thanks by saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, so that Kayla can begin to move forward in the direction that she wants to move forward to. And for that knowingness, I am incredibly happy and say thank you. Thank you for sharing, Kayla. Okay, now Karen said thank you, and she is going to work with the energy, and she'll know it'll lead her towards something marvelous. That's great. Thank you. I love the comments back because it reinforces my knowingness. And now we're going to go to Dan. Hello, Dan. This would be great if you were able to answer personally, but this works. Good. It is. I suffer with acute tinnitus. Oh, can you offer any suggestions? I get a chronic. Yes, I had a gal actually email me personally about tinnitus. Oh, but the name Dan Hutchison didn't ring a bell, so I guess it wasn't you, but I think it was a girl. I get a chronic. Yeah, for those of you not aware of tinnitus, I had it one time, and it's horrible because it's a horrible ringing in your ears, and it goes 24 hours. And inhibits sound sleep, definitely inhibits sound sleep. And there's no cure that they know, I'm told. Many thanks and gracious blessings. Bless you for that. I have to tell you my story because I was suffering now. I wasn't suffering as badly as a lot of people did, but what was at that time, ear candling was really big. And I'm just going to tell you my story first, and then I'll do a treatment for you. Ear candling was really big, and I bought up a whole pile of ear candles, and I had my daughter and my son and some friends, and we had ear candling day afternoons at my place. And I learned how to do them, and I learned how. But the interesting thing was, I had one ear that was very chronic. It took 11 candles. And what the ear candling does is draws up the wax out of your ear. 11 candles, and there was no more tinnitus. And what I realized is the wax had impacted down into the hearing, like from in, and so the sounds were trying to get through this wax and couldn't. That's my understanding. Doctors may tell you something very different. I don't know who does ear candling now, but I'm sure it's out there because it's been around for a long time. And so that was my experience. And now let me just move into prayer and see what the divine says to you about tinnitus and about how and what can be done, because it's beyond my hands. Something that I don't know how to do. I just know how we cleared mine. And actually, I had some come back, and I had some more done later, a few years later too, which helped it. Okay, here we go for Dan. I know there is one power and one essence in all things, and I speak my truth for Dan in relation to his tinnitus. I know that the power of love is in every cell of the body if one awakes it. I know that I'm having a mind blank here. Sorry. I'm looking for miracles. That's the word I'm looking for. I can't say it. And I know miracles have occurred when it comes to physical beings counting on the law of love. I also know the practicality really works well. And so here we have a situation. And as I move into the love force and on Dan's vibration, one of the things that comes up, Dan, is the inability to listen to what others' viewpoints are. I have no idea how relative this is, but it feels like you did a lot of blocking in your life, and a lot of blocking in how things have been and what could have been if you had listened. And if you had listened, you would have been more accepting and more open and more aware. In being more open and aware, you would have made different choices in your life. And in making those choices, many circumstances would have had a different outcome. But then comes a point where these things have happened. So one of the points is the need to open up, to listen more, as I trust you're doing with me. This isn't always easy to hear, to listen to what people are really saying and not judging, criticizing, thinking they could say it better, which may be why I stumbled in the beginning of this. So the critical voice The critical voice can get in the way of so much. And that's what I feel here. Now, I'm just going to, I just want to come away a little bit from the prayer into what I can say here. One of the techniques I tell my clients a lot is what I call it now, freeze, evaporate, and replace. When you have a thought that is not the thought that you want to have, or a thought that doesn't get you where you want to go, you freeze it in time and space. In other words, you get the thought, you freeze it, and then you evaporate it, and then you replace that thought with more. So when you find a critical thought, when you find a judgmental thought, you freeze it, you evaporate it, and you replace it. For what I have found for me, that helped me phenomenally. It helped me through many things where I was messing up in my life. When I began to sit back, create an observer, listen to myself, think, and see, is there this interrelation to what it is you want to create? Dan, your openness that you at least open to talk to me shows that you're willing to change. And that is the biggest and greatest miracle of the world, is when we are open to look at something a little differently. I just really would like you personally to say, when you're talking with someone, and go out and talk to people as much as you can, and just find out where you're not listening, where you're stopping, where you're judging, where you're being critical. I think you might find that if you just stay, here we go again with the blockages, if you just stay flexible, if you just stay open and realize every person is entitled to their belief. I did one of my Sunday thoughts on acceptance. I think it was a Sunday thought one, and on the acceptance. And it's like, how do we accept someone else's viewpoint? How do we accept that? Sometimes that's all it is just accepting that's their viewpoint. It's not mine, but you listened. You heard what they had to say. And I think as you review your world from what's come through for you tonight, you will see that often that you didn't. And as you do that, who knows, maybe the ears will start letting go of what's holding back the listening element, what's holding it back. Sometimes I have found, and I'm going to add this, is that if you're clairaudient, which is psychic hearing, which is back down here in the lower part of your ears, it's right down there. And sometimes if you touch down between the mastoid bone and your ear, and if it's tender there, it means that your psychic ears are blocked. And what I found, a lot of it sometimes is that the psychic ears move forward. They move forward and into your physical ears, because every part of us wants to work for us. Every part is a part of us and wants to do the best job. And if for some reason they're blocked, they will try other ways of doing it. And psychic ears are notorious for coming into the physical ears and creating, I had forgotten this actually before I said it, creating noise in the ears, because they're trying to get through messages, again, about listening. So listen to the inner thoughts. Listen to what other people say. Listen to your inspirational thought. We all have a high self that gives us inspiration. Are we listening? We're not separate. We are separate as a human being, but we have a lot of support systems in our energy fields. And I think that a lot of this comes down to the inability to listen. And so as I move back into the prayer mode here for you, Dan, I want to say thank you to the loving force of life. Thank you because I'm grateful that Dan gets to hear and hopefully listen, that life is there awaiting him in a whole new way. Life is there by taking in what other people say, and is by letting go judgments that life is supposed to be this way. If we have a strong thinking pattern of how life is supposed to be, we often find that doesn't work. Life isn't in a box. It's open-ended at times. So Dan, you go play in life and listen lots, okay? That would be wonderful. And thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully next week as well. We'll see. Okay, let's see. What have I got? I think I maybe said Kayla was saying thank you. She felt the moving energy inside and know the shift is happening. Yes, thank you. And Karen also adds another note saying, I'm feeling so inspired listening to your wise thoughts for all these lovely people. Such beautiful energy happening these Monday nights. Thank you. And that is something that I've heard, that people come on and they're here and they are listening to what I also add. And I found that sometimes in prayer, like with Dan's, it's like a thought I would not have had. And when I was typing the answer back to the gal that had written to me, I didn't even think about that not listening, because I didn't do a prayer on it. And that's one of the reasons I love doing these, because I'm inspired. I'm given words that I wouldn't normally have. And Dan has now said, thank you, Norma. You have a wonderful gift. Thank you. Well, a lot of practice, trust, belief, etc., is what makes this all work so effectively. This is always, I've had a strange day today with all the things that have been going on politically in our country. And I have a lot of friends keeping me up to date on what's happening to that. And I was just feeling kind of low today. And I have a sore knee that sometimes plays up. And of course, today it decided to play up. And I'm saying, okay, we got to get ready now because we're doing this show. And all of a sudden the energy comes in. And that's part of the wonder of connecting in with love source energy. Love source energy is there. Can you see it? No. Can you smell it? If you have a psychic nose, you may be able to smell it. I can feel it. Because I'm more of a feeler. So when I say, can you see it? Some people probably see it. I can. I don't smell it. Sometimes I have my psychic smell will kick in. My psychic nose made same thing. But I can feel, I call it, for myself, I call it an essence, because I feel the essence. And I connect with that because inside is love. And those people who have had transformation work with me, and there's quite a lot that have had that, one of the things I do is work to connect them with the love force. And sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to get people to accept the love force and the love essence that's in and available to each one of us. Because that's really what it's all about. Loving self. How do we love ourselves? How do we accept ourselves? I spoke a little bit about that this last Sunday because I forgot to say, Happy Valentine's Day. I don't have a special person in my life, like a male in my life at this time. And so I don't have anybody really saying Happy Valentine's Day. I had a couple of friends send me little texts with hearts and things, and I appreciated that and sent something back. I was forgetting about that because I spoke yesterday, which was Sunday, in my Sunday thought about that, about love. And love, really, the most important is self-love, how to honor yourself, how to accept yourself, how to appreciate who you are. We're all unique. So often we look out the masses. We forget that each one of us has a fingerprint. We have an eye print that's different from somebody else. We are unique. And in being unique, we have some peculiar traits sometimes. And sometimes that's what shows up because we tend in our society want to be molded into, I don't know what, little automatons or something. I never really was that. I was not awake for a long, long time in my life. Again, trauma as a young person, which happens with people who have had trauma. And that's one reason I was committed to inner growth. And my commitment, as I said in my early years, I want to know who God or what God is, because from the age of 3, I went to Sunday school. And it seemed to become important to me to figure that out. And I spent a lot of years figuring it out. And I believe for me, I did. And I think that's important. For me, I found the way. I found what I wanted to do. Well, I've given people some more time, and I have gone now 30 minutes. My minimum is 30 minutes. I can go longer if I need to because it's my channel and I can stay as long as I want. But, just to talk without doing what I'm here to do. I do want to say this. A person who's very, very important to me said to me, Norma, you're getting good views, but you're not getting likes. You're not getting subscriptions like you need to be. So please ask people to like, share, and subscribe. So if you have not shared, liked, and subscribed, please do so. Then my friend won't be saying to me, you got to do something. You got to remember to do this. I appreciate this. I will be back on Wednesday with Norma Talks, and which is when I do talk for a much longer period of time. But I want to wish you all well, and I want you to be happy, healthy, and embracing the love force that exists for each one of us. So happy Valentine's Day. Happy week. See you on Wednesday. Bye.